Hi, Dave from David's To-Do List, out in the garage working on the 65. The reason for this video, my Rev C transmission install, is because I made some mistakes. I didn't set my engine correctly when I was setting my angle, I believe. I set it level with the top of the intake manifold, which gave me an engine angle of about 6 degrees. So from what I've read and watched videos and stuff, you don't want more than a 3-degree angle on your drive shaft, pinion to drive shaft angle, because of the universal joints will wear out and you'll get vibrations and stuff. So what I've done is I've had to lift the back of the transmission about 1 5/16 from my original mount that I had made. So with that, I have to make a new transmission mount. I'll also be setting my pinion angles to the drive shaft and my new rear end that I'm putting in. So hopefully this will save somebody else possibly from making the same mistakes, because you know how much we like to do things 2 or 3 times. So here we go. Whew. It's cold this morning. It was like 15 degrees a few minutes ago. Let's see what we got. Probably looks the same. Yep, heat's on. Let's see here. Well, second shift didn't do anything like usual. So, back at it. I've got that on the harmonic balancer down there, and it says 87.6 degrees. I'm right up against the tunnel on the transmission there. I don't know, it seems kind of high, but I have the stock motor mounts in the front, so the height ride in the engine should be the right height in the front, I would think. So I'm going to cut a little more out of that tunnel and see if I can get a little more clearance, get it up maybe another degree or so, which is about another maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch or so. It's got to come up in the back. So we'll see what happens. The motor was sitting on both motor mounts, which are factory set, you know. Let's see if we got power here. So they're sitting on the factory mounts down there on both sides. I think you can see it. And the motor was tipped a little bit. So I started to shim the motor, and I decided probably the better thing to do would be to just tweak the suspension a little bit, because it should be sitting level with the motor sitting on the factory motor mounts, I think. I could be wrong, but so we are real close here. Okay, maybe not. Was just 0, but okay. So 0.2, which is not much, but what I'm doing is just squeezing the spring a little bit with my spring compressor and getting it back to level. There we go. So I've got my digital level on here. I got this motor setting it flat at 0 degrees. I've got my crank pulley center line with this divider on here, and I am setting the compass on there. I want that straight, obviously. It needs to come back just a hair. $89.9, we're going to call that good. Flashed to 90 there for a second. Now I'm going to take and go back to the check on the transmission and drive shaft again, and then I'm going to do my center line, the edge of that scale down through the center of the axle or the differential in the back. Check that out. This should be the same angle that I have up front, which it is 2.2 still. So if I take that 2.2 and zero it out, put it on the drive shaft, we have 1.4. Looks good for an angle. Now I'm going to check my center line, make sure my center line's good. And I'm shooting down towards the front, towards that. So it's this edge of the, this edge. That's cute. This edge of the scale is the edge of the, see it just touching there? Trying to get it level. Pretty close, right there. It looks pretty good. So according to that, I'm on the right side of the scale. Might be on the wrong side of the scale. Let me go look, make sure. I hope I'm on the wrong side of the scale. Let's see, yes, I am on the wrong side of the scale. It's going to make a big difference. That's going to make a difference. So it's that side of the scale right there. Oh, that looks a lot better. I think we could stand to come over here, about like so. Edge of the scale, center of the pinion. Yeah, those holes are off a hair on my original. Right on the edge of that scale. In the center of that cup, right in the center of this cup, center of the shaft there, down the center of the drive shaft, center of the cup there, and then down the edge of the scale there, which is the center line of the crankshaft. So it looks pretty good. Looks like my holes are off just a hair here on my original mount here. But I'm going to be putting a new piece up here, so I'll be able to correct those. But the transmission came up, so my holes are, I don't know if that would line up or not. It looks like the transmission's come back a little bit. And then I have to come up here and trim some more of the tunnel out. The transmission's right next to it. So looks like I'm going to go back about another 4 inches or so here and get some clearance around that transmission. I also have, like, here's my speedometer, where the speedometer hooks up. Got to get some clearance here. I don't know if I'm just going to take my old framework right out of there or what. I'm not sure yet. But definitely got to trim some room out of here, get a little more room for that top of that transmission to clear. That should give me enough room to cut around there. Let's see if I can bring that back up. Need a little bit more right there. Take some more out of there. Gotta clear that, so I gotta go back at least another probably inch and a half. Okay. Yeah, looks pretty good. What do we got down here? 87.8, so that's about where it was. I believe that's right where it was. I don't know if I can get a little bit more. Yeah, there's 87.9. Just thinking about what kind of cover I was going to make for that. I'm thinking like a octagon, like 1, 2, 3, maybe a 5-sided cover, kind of tapered on the top. Might look cool. Let's see what we got under here. I think I've got it just about where I had it before. I think I might have went up just a hair. Let's see what we got. Okay. So this should be level with the motor and the transmission. Yep. About 2.2 degrees there. You see that? Yeah, 2.2. check the drive shaft here. .2 degrees. Pretty cool. And then I should be able to just set my rear end where I want it and just angle the pinion up 2 degrees, like this transmission's down 2 degrees, so the pinion would be, or the rear end would be up 2 degrees. And that should give me a good angle on my drive shaft within the 3-degree boundary that you're supposed to be within. I think we're going to be good to go. Here's the David's to-do list tip of the day. I don't know if everybody thinks of this or not, but making slots in these, in my mounting plate for my transmission mount. And I had to take some metal out of there. I only had one really fine blade, but it was shot. If you look at that, you can see it's, I don't know, it looks like I tried to cut a drill bit or something with it. It's beat. But in order to, I can still use the good part of the blade by just putting a shim on there. And so I put that 3/4 inch shim on there, brings you up to a whole new part of the blade. You get a lot more use out of one blade. There you go. Still cutting. Still pretty good too. Now I'll finish that off with a file, and I'll have nice little slots for my transmission mount. I just file them until I get a bolt, 3/8 bolt slide in there. Almost. There we go. I'm getting ready to tack weld this, and thought it was kind of funny. So here's the first one. There's the second one. And here's the third one. So that would be what? Rev A, B, and C. Actually, the first one probably wouldn't be a rev, but we're still going with Rev A, B, and C. Here's where I left off yesterday. I was working on my cross member, my Rev C modification. So here's the first try, second try, and now we're going with the third try. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of that. I'm going to cut this right off here. I'm going to mark this out, and I'm going to cut it off with my porta-band saw and then weld it up. So that's the plan. I always wanted a porta-band saw. Thanks, Ken, by the way. Ken had one. He gave me a great deal on it. I never had one, though. So I don't know how I could have saved myself so much work over the years by having one of these. I used to use a Sawzall for everything. But there's, I mean, it's just places where a porta-band just works so much better than a Sawzall. So I don't know about here, if this will be one of those cases, but probably will. You need a good surface to put the stop against. I have learned that. I'll leave enough room in the back. Looks like I got it pretty good. So it's got a finicky switch. It's old. There we go. That's it. Yeah. And what a nice cut. Nice, clean, smooth cut, pretty straight. I'll be able to weld that up and look like it never even happened. Not quite what I had in mind the first time, but I'm sure it'll be strong enough. Came out pretty good. You can see it's off center a little bit where I had to shift that transmission over, but looks pretty good. Good and stout, good and solid. I guess now the question is, how much did it move when I welded it? Doesn't want to go. That does not want to go. Nope. It did move a little. Definitely. I did that yesterday and I dropped the frickin' transmission right on my head. That was nice. Yeah, it definitely came in when I welded it. Let me see if I can spring that out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure these. Looks like I had to move about 1/8 of an inch. So inside to inside I got about 8 inches here. So I'm going to see if this wants to move. Well, it definitely moved. About 50 thousandths. Oh yeah. Moved about 200. I'll see how much it springs back. Well, it stayed about 50 thousandths. Let's see if I can bring you in here a little closer, see what's going on. Might be easier to measure outside to outside. So I got, well, I started out on the inside. 8 inches is what it was. Now it's about 8 inches 50 thousandths. So let's see. There's 100. There's 200. I'm going to get out of the way line of fire here. It's about 300. See how far that springs back. That's about 8 inches 100. So let's try that, see if that'll fit in there. Put a nut on here to hold it. Okay. started. You can see it. It's closer. Looks like it might still need to go out a little bit. Oh, well, it's starting. Let's see if we'll put it in there with this. Yep, that one went. Well, this one sure will. They both went in. You can see it up here and up there. Oh, it's around here somewhere. Let this down. Oh, yeah. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. It's nice that it's up higher. It was pretty, I did have it way down here, so that's definitely better. I thought about taking and tying this together with a bracket. I don't know. Maybe in the future I might change my mind. Looks like it's got to make a little clearance for that speedometer cable. But that should be, that's loose. There's no weight on that. That should be held where it was. I'll set up my laser and recheck the center line, make sure nothing moved. But it should be good. I'll do that now. We got the laser in the center here. Looks good. Running down the drive shaft through the center of that cup. And you can see the line is just touching the edge of that scale, which is the center line of the crank. So I think we're good to go, finally. Still working on the transmission cover. I'm doing a lot of scratching my chin and rubbing my head and a lot of this. A lot of this. Some of this. Some of this. Just hasn't come to me yet. I know I'll have that magical moment. Oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do. And then I'll start cutting stuff and redo it 3 times, but hasn't happened yet. So I'll get back to you.